Chapter 5, Part 3. But Stig was standing there looking down at the fallen William Tell Snarget with an almost fatherly look in his eyes. He bent down to help the boy to his feet, and the Snarget moaned feebly, "Don't, don't!" Then, seeing Barney approaching, he turned his eyes pitifully towards Barney and wailed, "Don't let him hurt me! Don't let him hurt me! I wasn't doing no harm!" But Stig kept hold of him and led him firmly but gently towards his den. The Snarget gang, troublemakers though they were not as black as they were painted. Anyway, they weren't the men to abandon one of their number to his fate. And perhaps too they had an idea that violence was not always the way to get things done. Stig, Barney and their captive had not been long inside the den before there came the sound of hesitant footsteps from nearby. Barney looked out, and there were the two other Snargets standing meekly together, unarmed, and holding paper packets in their hands. The middle brother also had a handkerchief, which might have been supposed to be white, tied to a stick. "We got gifts," said the one with the white flag. "Yes," said the other. "We come for the little un." Barney hesitated. "You better come in," he said. "But no tricks?" "Not likely," said the middle Snarget. "Not with that there pal of yourn about." They came in through the doorway, saw Stig for the first time close to, and stopped, their eyes growing rounder and rounder. Then the second of them took a step forward, gingerly, holding out his hand with a paper bag on it. "For you," he said in a shaky voice. "It's jelly babies." Stig took the little bag in a puzzled manner, squeezed it, smelt it, turned it about in his hands. Barney realised that though he was clever at a lot of things, he was sometimes surprisingly ignorant about such things as paper bags. Then, as he turned the bag in his hairy hands, one jelly baby fell out onto the floor. Stig's eyes widened, and he stooped to pick it up and held it to the light of the lamp which was flaming in the back of the cave, with a pleased expression on his face. Then he reverently stood the little sweet meat in a niche in the chalk, and stood and looked at it. "You're supposed to eat it, Stig," said Barney, getting rather tired of this pantomime. "It's delicious." He went across to the jelly baby's little niche and popped it into his own mouth. Stig looked horrified, and Barney was afraid for a moment he was going to hit him. "There's more in the bag, Stig," he said hurriedly, and took the bag from Stig and opened it and showed him the other little jelly figures. "Go on, eat one," he urged. Stig took one between his finger and thumb, put it slowly in his mouth and chewed slowly. Barney and the Snargets watched anxiously. Then a smile slowly began to spread over his face. The Snargets, who had been standing there strained and tense, sighed with relief and smiled too. Somehow everyone felt as though some very solemn ceremony had been performed. Barney handed round the bag, and all five of them solemnly ate jelly babies. Then the middle Snarget produced his second gift, which was a little bags of fizzy sherbet with hollow sticks of licorice stuck in them to suck it through. They sat down to this. After a little instruction, Stig got the idea of how to suck the fizzy powder up through the little tube. But as soon as he got a mouthful and felt the unusual sensation on his tongue, he jumped up with an alarmed expression on his face and began coughing and spluttering, and the Snargets weren't sure whether to laugh or be alarmed too. But Barney banged Stig on the back, which impressed the Snargets even more, and managed to soothe him down again. Finally, with a flourish, the eldest Snarget produced a packet of Woodbine cigarettes and handed them round. All three Snargets took one, as if it was quite a usual thing. But this time it was Barney's turn to hesitate and wonder whether he should. As if he wished to show they were all friends now, Stig took one, beaming, and without even looking to see what the others were doing with theirs, put it in his mouth. The smallest Snarget suddenly exclaimed, "Ew, he's eating it!" And before they could do anything, Stig had chewed up the little tube of tobacco and swallowed it with great satisfaction. The Snargets and Barney lit their cigarettes at the lamp. Barney immediately choked on his and threw it away and decided he didn't like smoking. The smallest Snarget puffed away and turned first white and then green. The other two smoked away quite happily, but Stig, though he ate another one, could not be persuaded to send up in smoke what he considered to be nourishing food. The Snargets began to feel at home. He's all right, your pal Stig," said the eldest Snarget to Barney. "He don't say much though, do he? Don't he speak English?" "Smashing place he's got here and all," said the second. "Caw, look at them old spears." I weren't really feared of him," piped up the youngest. "I was just making out I was." "Yeah, we wasn't really going to do no harm to old Barney here, was we, fellers? It were all just make-believe, weren't it? Reckon old Barney and his pal Stig are all right, eh, fellers?" The others agreed in chorus. Barney felt a warm feeling inside now that the Snargets reckoned he and his friend Stig were all right. "I tell you what," went on the eldest Snarget, "Stig and Barney will be part of our gang from now on, and we'll all swear an oath we won't none of us tell no one about this here den." Barney was going to agree, and then he thought, well, it was his secret first anyway, so why should he swear about it with anybody? But the Snargets swore a horrible oath amongst themselves over the body of the last jelly baby in the bag, which they then cut the head off and buried to show what would happen to any of them who broke their oath. Barney felt fairly sure that his secret would not spread around the village now, and he felt somehow that Stig and the Snargets would get along very well together. Barney was quite surprised when he got back to his grandmother's house to find that he was in good time for lunch, and Granny was just dishing up dumplings. "Did you find something to do outside, dear?" asked his grandmother. "Not a very nice day." "Oh, I had super fun with the Snargets, Granny. First I bombed them, and then they were going to lynch me or torture me or something.